Men are not monsters. Last week 3 of my 4 boys were herded into school-sponsored assemblies and asked to stand, raise their hands and pledge to never, ever hurt a woman. Their female classmates weren't required to make a similar pledge. Shit like this really pisses me off. Teachers and schools seem to be ironically more stupid than the actual world outside of education. I would have walked out in disgust on principle. Any woman who physically attacks me is going to get a response in kind. It reminds me of posters reminding men not to rape. Listen here, you little shit, not you op. People who rape are going to rape regardless. And that poster just makes normal non-rapist men feel antagonized. It's like reminding blacks not to steal. Never hit or hurt a woman. Because we are bigger. What? So what if she has a gun? Let her shoot me? If a crazy chick I slept with is trying to stab me, should I let her? At what point does it become a situation where we are encouraging our boys to allow themselves to be victims? I mean, I was raised with respect. And to not hit a woman. But let's be honest. I've seen some huge women walking around. I mean, if you're a 6-foot monster of a woman, and start swinging on me, you better believe I will swing back. Just because you have a dick doesn't mean you should willingly be the victim in any situation. Greater than so, what if she has a gun? Let her shoot me? If a crazy chick I slept with is trying to stab me, should I let her? I mean, she literally just has to smack you in the head with a dinner plate. The idea that women can't harm men is basically a polite fiction to cover up the root societal values that consider men unworthy of compassion. Greater than aghast. My 17-year-old son walked out. Less than 2 hours later, he went to choir practice, where he and his classmates practiced a parody of Cell Block Tango from the musical Chicago that features the 6 merry murderesses of Cook County Jail singing about killing their lovers. Here's one verse. Ha! He had it coming, he took a flower in its prime and then he used it and he abused it. It was a murder but not a crime. Why don't they just take all the boys and girls into a room and say, okay, boys, see these girls? They own you. They are your overlords and may treat you as they please. Cross them and be punished. Okay, girls, see these boys? Do whatever you want to them. You will not be held accountable for mistreating them. They will be held accountable for not pleasing you. Class dismissed. All this aside, I remember seeing a while back how this sort of thing will only be seen as a problem when it affects mommy's sweet little boys. And not to look a gift horse in the mouth, but just wanted to point out that seems to be the case for this article. It's funny that the writer mentions the musical Chicago. I saw it a few months ago for the first time and I just could not immerse in the story and enjoy it. Because I couldn't stop thinking about how this, Broadway's longest running and most award-winning musical, was incredibly misandric. And if the sexes had been reversed, it never would have seen production. If you haven't seen it, the story is literally about a bunch of women who have all murdered men for trivial and hilarious reasons, are portrayed as sympathetic characters. And the happy ending occurs when 2 of them walk away scot-free. The story is horrifying in content. But because men are the victims, it's high art? Let's be honest though, I'd love to watch an American Psycho musical. You might be a genius. Greater than here was my son's takeaway from the assembly. Men are just monsters that society needs to put in little cages. Which means if they actually end up as victims of domestic violence, it will further cement the thought to them that 1, they deserve it, and 2, there is nothing they can do about it. Fucking hysterical morons and their agenda-driven retarded brainwashing. Violence is unacceptable to all adults, it is not a gender issue. Forcing people to somehow worship a gender and give them special treatment as if they can never do no wrong actually makes you a tool of domestic violence. What really pisses me off is the stupidity and smugness of it all. By actually thinking that simplified moronic pledges like this, where you treat 3.5 billion individuals as perfect, you somehow solve the world's problems of violence. It's like the fucking morons who think they are above war. No one is impressed, and your smug sense of achievement or spiritual satisfaction you get is absolutely unmerited. It really grinds my gears, morons getting a smug sense of satisfaction thinking they are better people than others because they are too dense to actually understand the complexities of situations, but unfairly think they are better than everyone else. Everyone can claim to be anti-war and anti-violence when it's not your food, life, land, freedom on the line. And simply burying your head in the sand and thinking some simplistic moronic brainwashing pledge or policy will solve everything is merely a testament to your stupidity. I would genuinely love to send an aggressive ex-con violent woman and set her loose on the school and give her free rein to slap and beat the principal and staff and see how they react. Then if they defend themselves, punish them for doing so. Only then might these absolute fucking morons get the idea. It's a bit more complex than that of fucking idiots everywhere in education. It's amazing that these people think they can somehow correct sexism by acting sexist. This is a relativistic post-modern society. Oh well, enjoy the decline. Pledge or not, if you are forced to say it, it holds no water. Imagine this. A black man brutally beats and rapes a 19-year-old girl in the area. The next day, the school administration funnels all the students into the auditorium for a presentation. There, every black male student is pressured to raise their hands and pledge not to commit violent or otherwise illegal acts. That school would lose all its federal funding inside a week. The heads of the administrators would roll. The horrible prejudice and racist discrimination on display in that school would be the leading story on every news channel, while the talking heads asked how anyone could have been so stupid as to allow it to happen. Funny how adding a skin color before a gender suddenly makes the damning prejudice of it all blatantly obvious to the social progressives. But no one raises an eye when it's only an entire gender being persecuted. I've personally seen more women ruin men's lives through emotional and mental manipulation than any guy hit a woman. I am almost positive that I had this speaker come to my school. He started with saying he does not like teenage boys. That he trusts none of them. That even after he meets them and knows them he just cannot like them. That in each girl he sees his daughter. And in each boy he sees her killer. In so many words. That at any given time any one of us could snap and rape, beat, kill a girl. I get that you had something terrible happen to you. That burying your daughter is likely worse than dying to many ppl. But to tell me you have made your peace, that you have moved on, is clear bullshit when 5 minutes later you are telling me I'm a whiskey sour away from being a rapist. I brought this up in class the next day, and was raked over the coals by the more vocal girls, claiming that I couldn't relate to his experience. Although that may be true. He lost half the room when he told us we are heathens who think with our dicks. The guy needs to actually work on his grief rather than make himself feel good by crying to high school students about how he perceives them wronging him. Greater than he told us we are heathens who think with our dicks is here. Have you heard of projection? Greater than the guy needs to actually work on his grief rather than make himself feel good by crying to high school students about how he perceives them wronging him. Do you want me to go to the hardware store to buy some wood for you to build a bridge and get over it? Interestingly, women commit more domestic violence than men. 1 in 5 reported cases are women attacking a male, and there are a huge number of unreported cases. Women are far more likely to slap or stick a partner than men, but women consider this minor and dismiss it. If a woman slaps a man and the man retaliates, it gets classed as male domestic abuse. If a random person attacks me, I'm going to defend myself, male or female. Sorry. But what you have between your legs doesn't give you a "get out of being a fucking idiot" card. If a girl attacked my mother, for example, oh, you better believe I'm kicking the shit out of her.